Good morning, Rev Walter here, and glad that you could join us today on Wednesday, the 11th of October, 2023. And for those of you that are joining us on YouTube, please remember, as always, to subscribe. So just click the right-hand side of your screen. You should see a little subscribe button. Subscribe on that, and then choose the notification button. And you can select whether you want to be reminded for some or all of the posts and alerts on our platform. And so also do remember to leave a comment. Even as I'm speaking, you're welcome to leave a comment, ask a question, and we'll be glad to handle it. Now, this is the 7:30 Mentorship Academy. We run this 7:30 Mentorship Academy every single working day. So that means from Monday to Friday, for as long as there's no bank holiday, we are here to serve as part of our giving back to society. And so every Monday, we have myself with Unleashing Your Destiny. And then on Tuesdays, we have Coach Sunshine with her program, which is, of course, the Mindset Change program. Then on Wednesday, we have the open market. And what you see me doing right now is an example of the open market. So we do this as part of our setup, which is available for you in order to, bring about various topics. So today I'm handling this, so which means I'm the one doing the topic for today. Then on Thursdays, we have Dr. Nelly with her show, which is Prosperity Insight. Sorry, Prosperity for Your Soul. I always say Prosperity Insights. I have a show called Prosperity Insight, so I tend to, always end up calling out my show instead of calling out her show. So I apologize for that. And then on Friday, we have the show that's done by Dr. Jackie, which is Healthy Tips. So those are the shows that we have every single day, Monday to Friday, and today is no exception. We are here, and I'm speaking on the topic you see there, which is detractors to destiny. So what exactly is a detractor? A detractor is, in essence, a repellent to your destiny. Living in the past or time travel, which is the first one, the flashy detour, which is the second detractor, and the third one is the sunk cost fallacy. These are the major detractors or repellents. In fact, we will be looking at the third detractor today, which is the sunk cost fallacy. Now, before I do that, in case you just have no idea what the other two are, the first one is time travel. Now, what is time travel? It is the tendency for individuals to be caught up in some event in their past. And many people tend to be so caught up in these past events that they fail to make progress in their lives. In short, they find themselves situation. So it becomes an issue that kind of remains a haunting factor that prevent the flashy detour. They get distracted. Something comes through, looks attractive. They say, okay, hold on. Let me just pursue this and I'll come back here. And a lot of people never manage to come back. So that's the flashy detour. Now, let's go into the sunk cost. Let a past expenditure distort your decision. I seem to be having issues with my internet. I just hope it will not switch me off completely. Hold on, just give me a moment. Let's just double check just to see if we are safe. All right, just a moment. All right, give me a second. Let's see if we can just switch to another network. And I'm sorry about this. Let's hope this will not mess with our presentation. All right, so we're back, I think. All right, sorry about that. Internet and connectivity issues. So like I was saying, you suffer from a sunk cost fallacy whenever you let a past expenditure distort your decision-making process. In terms of this particular presentation today, this is when a past cost in terms of time, effort, or both blinds and distorts your ability to make an objective decision about that commitment in the present. Now, in accounts, sunk costs in a business are expenses that cannot be gotten back even if you choose to close or discontinue the venture. Okay, and these include but are not limited to examples like rentals, registration and licensing fees, salaries, and operational expenses like the phone, airtime, internet bundles, fuel, transport, and the like. Now, once these are spent, they can never be recovered. So in accounts, they are called sunk costs. So you see that? Sunk costs. So meaning they go, they're gone. They'll not come back. Now, whenever that expense is deemed very high, many persons begin to suffer from this sunk cost fallacy. They become challenged with facing reality and instead end up getting into a fallacious scenario. So there are three mechanisms, which can and do contribute to the sunk cost fallacy itself. So I'm gonna name these three three mechanisms, and then we'll describe them. So the first one is the waste not principle. The second one is the preference of risky gambles to certain losses. And the third one is the justification of behavior. These are mechanisms. So let's look at each one of them. So let's begin with the waste not principle. Now, this is the desire to avoid feeling that you've wasted resources. If those resources are time, effort, money, personnel, or all of the above, you want to justify the continued course because you cannot waste all that expenditure. This is seen in people who know deep in their hearts that things are no longer working, but the money or effort, which is the time expended, cannot be allowed to just sink into oblivion. So they end up spending good money after bad money. This is a classic case of people who say, well, I've done the course for 3 years, I might as well finish it. But they know in their hearts they no longer love what they're doing. But they keep staying in, they keep doing this thing because they feel that, well, if I stop, what happens to all that money that I just expended? So many of them don't want to do that. So that's the first one. So a lot of people suffer from that. Okay, and then the second one is the preference for risky gambles to certain losses. Now, this is the desire to give yourself a chance to break even regardless of how slim. So in other words, the situation is getting worse, money is just going in, losses are piling up, but you're like, maybe we'll make our money back, so let's put some money, and then once we just make our money, we pull out. Okay, so even when all the indicators show this is a certain loss with no hope of recovery whatsoever, you want to continue by faith or on the chance that things will work out, hence why we call it gambling. Now, this scenario is typical in a lot of relationships. You find people get into relationships, they could be partnerships, they could be marriage, and by so saying this, it doesn't mean I support divorce wantonly, but I'm just telling you that there's a lot of people who see all the red flags. In fact, those guys don't even have red flags. They have billboards, they have side banners, they have huge signs all over the place telling them that this is not working, but they just keep going, Capena, maybe something will change. You know, it's just the first year. Let's see what happens the second year. Let's see what happens the third year. Let's see what happens the fourth year. You know, I'm at a place in my own life where I've decided, you know what? We're not going to continue like this, because every indicator shows we've been putting in the same effort for the last 5-6 years. We're not seeing any changes. I think we just have to cut our losses and move forward. So this second one, the preference for risky gambles, is very common with a lot of people. They would rather be stuck in a loveless, violent, abusive, narcissistic marriage than to pull out. They would rather be in a terrible relationship that's actually costing them a lot of opportunities business-wise, but they feel sorry for this person. Oh no, this person, we started from the beginning, but everything about them is a mess. They are in fact costing you in a massive way. This is very similar to the other series I did, the 8 psychological traps most people are caught in. So there's a particular trap called the, prison prisoner of conscience. Yeah, the prison of conscience, where you have an opportunity to pull out, but what happens to the person you're leaving behind? Oh, that means they'll suffer. Let me stick with them. So even when you have an opportunity to come out, you stick with them because you feel sorry for them. You want to be in solidarity with them. But the truth of the matter is they are pulling you down and pulling you down bad. And as long as you remain there, you are losing out. But a lot of people, this one, they really suffer from. So if you look at the other one, which we looked at, which is the one where you know you don't want to waste money and effort, and then you couple that with the risky gamble, this is really bad. So a lot of people suffer from this too. Then the third one, which is also very interesting, is the justification of behavior. Now, this is the desire to avoid feeling foolish or looking stupid to others. You probably made such a big deal about this choice and flaunted it enough such that you now want to save face. Does that sound familiar? So you choose to continue in an obvious bad course of action simply because you would rather be a hypocrite than be truthful. Okay, so you continue pretending all is well when it is no longer so. This is true of many endeavors, especially marriages and business ventures. For some, this even extends to negative situations like job losses, where individuals choose to pretend to go to work every morning and come back in the evening, when the reality is that they go and hang out all day elsewhere to save face at home. Some people can't even come to the reality and just explain that, guys, things are bad. And as if these early items are not enough, there's another 3 situation markers for the sunk cost fallacy in your personal life, which will manifest according to what I'm going to show you. And be aware that you don't have these and are holding on to them and thus deceiving yourself. And these exemplify the classic case of self-delusion, a byproduct of this detractor. So there is delusional state of operation. So this is really scary. So imagine, if we go back to the third one, the justification of behavior, there are so many people, they made such a big deal about it and things are not working and they have no guts to go back. I'm one of those people that always say, I like to be real. Even at home with my kids and family, I am real. When it comes to my relatives, I am real. I don't pretend to be what I am not, because I am not affected by the opinions of others. I have reached a level in my life where they can basically hang with their opinion. What matters for me is, am I doing what is right with the Creator? Am I doing what is right with God? Because if I'm doing something that's not right with God, because His law and His word says it's not right, then that I'm going to back up on. But if it is something that is not offending God, then all men mean nothing. And I really mean that. I am not going to be affected by what people think for as long as I'm on the right path. And I think a lot of us need to get past this justification of behavior. You know, it's the classic case where somebody loses their job as a CEO, or they retire as some top flying executive, and life adjusts, life changes. And now you have to deal with the reality you're in. A lot of people are afraid to make the shift. A lot of people are afraid to get rid of the big V8 Land Cruiser VX and downgrade to something more affordable like an SUV, mini SUV, such as a RAV4, or maybe downgrade even further all the way down to a Vitz or something. Now, some people are like, I can't be seen driving around with a Vitz. What do they think? You see? So they are affected so much by that. So they now are in a prison and they are continuing to feign a life they can't afford. That VX is killing them. You see, remember, you know, 10 liters in a VX are going to take you a particular distance, and 10 liters in a Vitz will take you very, very far. But a lot of people are afraid to come out in the open and just say, Bane, life has changed for me. I don't have the perks. I don't have the Tom card anymore. I am just an ordinary citizen like everybody else, and I'm going to watch my expenses. You know, sometimes life throws curveballs at you and you have to downgrade. A lot of people are very afraid to downgrade because what will people think of me? I tell you, that has been the undoing of a lot of people. Oh, what will people think of me? I have news for you. Don't care about what they think about you. You know why you're doing what you're doing. You know that where you are is a season and it will pass. Stick to that and run the course. So let's look at these situation markers. So there are 3 of them. Very, very interesting. I'll just run through them. Number 1, you feel a sense of grim determination. You know, what does that mean? You sense like you'll die if you keep going on this, but then you do because of one or more of the earlier things I mentioned. So you know very well that whatever you're doing just isn't cutting it anymore. Yesterday I was speaking to a group of ladies, and one very important question was asked: how do you know you are in your purpose? How can you tell if what you're doing is a calling from God? How do you know God has called you to do something? Answer: because you will gain great satisfaction whilst doing it. That's it. How do you know you've been called? You gain great satisfaction in doing it. When you do it, there's a great sense of relief, joy, and just satisfaction, like a really great satisfaction. You enjoy it so much. In fact, one of the signs I always use to determine if you're truly in your calling is this question: if they stopped paying you, would you still do it? What I know for a fact is that for most people who have this calling, they will do it. They will still continue. They will volunteer for it. They will go do it every single time they have an opportunity, because it's what they are made to do. It is what they are purposed to do. It's what they were born to do. So if you feel a sense of grim determination, if you feel like, oh my God, I'm dying, but I have to sustain this. This is what in marriage, in our local language, we call shipikisha club. If you reach a point where there's shipikisha, you're pushing, and there's no payback, my friend, you're in a really bad place. And that is just a sign that you made a seriously wrong choice, and you are suffering the consequences. And my point always is, if you're going to reach a point where you're suffering the consequences, then why are you still there? Pull the plug. Maybe we're scared of that. Number 2, partway through a project, you realize that the project likely outcome is no longer valuable to you. What does this mean? Though it may have seemed valuable at first, you realize it no longer is. Many times, this is caused by warped values, usually imposed by those you hold in high esteem around you, rather than what is true to you. Do you know what that means, my friends? It means you hang around very influential people, and they're, you've got that. You know, like us in the church circles. I see a calling on your life. I see you need to get into ministry. Oh, yes, yes, Papa. So you're so overwhelmed by the presence of this person. You know, they're such an idol. You look up to them. They're your mentor, whatever they are. And they tell you, I see a calling on your life. And so you really, you know, you kind of go for that. And then when you go out there and you begin to run, you get halfway through that and you go, oh my God. In short, what I'm saying is the influence initially drives you, only to later on realize that this investment is just not of value to you anymore in the truest sense of the word. However, this is important, you fear and respect those that impose their values, and so because they did so, this causes you to persist in a course you no longer wish to be in. I know so many people in that boat. I know so many people in that boat, especially in ministry. You know, sometimes those of us who are in ministry, we sit under very influential, powerful people that have a great speak on our lives. And so sometimes, you know, they're always asking you, when do you want to launch? When do you want to launch? When do you? And so somewhere down the line, you say, I think now, because you really, you know, because they keep preaching the messages. Oh, some of you are not obeying God. You are in disobedience, blah, blah. So in the process, you go, yeah, maybe I'm in disobedience. So a number end up going and jumping into ministry. And then guess what happens? When they get into ministry, they discover down the line that this is not for them. Now they're in a dilemma. You see, because they already went out there, they already are serving, they're doing whatever it is they're doing, but they're just no longer in a place where they wish to continue in that space. And you see, I know for a fact that there are many people in that boat. Many. You know, I mean, I've been doing ministry for a long time, so I know it for a fact. And so a lot of people struggle. And now what do you do? How do you go back to your highly revered, you know, mentor and tell them, I think. So you know what happens? This scenario I'm talking about is called a social identity crisis. It is, and that is when your career and life purpose choice is not one that is tied to your true purpose, but instead is centered around that of a highly influential person in your life. Usually this would be parents, guardians, spiritual authorities, and any person of influence. And you know, I don't know if I don't even know how much I can kokola on this one. You know, that's a word in our language which means I can emphasize on this. I know it for a fact. There are people listening to me right now, and in your spirit, in your heart, or whatever you want to call it, you can sense that you should not be here, but you're there. So what do you do now? So how do you navigate this space which you have found yourself in? Because initially you really thought this was you. You know, there's this great influencer and you love them so much, and you want to serve, and you want to be real, and you want to be truthful, and you want to show that you're a child of God who is obedient to God's instruction as coming from a great man or woman of God. So a lot of people, you kind of get yourself stuck there, and then somewhere down the line, you realize, oops. That's why I call it a social identity crisis. There's kids in that boat as well. There's people who are right now serving in their parents' companies, and they are dying every day because that's not who they are. There are people right now in ministry out there being pastors, but this is not who they are. And you know, let me finish the third one, because I want to show you how dangerous all this is, right? Now, the third one is you've paid for something that you're no longer interested in. So there you are, Waenda, you've gone to do ministry, and then you realize this is not for you. Okay, you lose all interest in what you do initially pursued, because you now know that it's not what you want, but because of one of the earlier mentioned things, you delude yourself into continuing. You say, this is the devil speaking to me. Devil, get behind me, Satan. I'm going to continue with this thing. I am going to pursue this thing. I am going to be faithful. And every day you're dying a little. Okay, as you can see, the sunk cost fallacy is very deadly because it can lead to terrible consequences in future. Many have persisted in this fallacy when it comes to relationships, including marriage, like I said, businesses, careers, investments, callings in ministry. Many have gotten stuck in this thing, right? If you recognize any of the things I've just said, then you may need to carry out some deep introspection. Now, I'm going to go into the solutions of how to get out of this, but these are not easy. I have to stress that these are not easy. I want to name one of the biggest consequences of being in the wrong place. Did you know that as human beings, we have adrenaline? Adrenaline is a hormone which is called the fight, fright, flight hormone. It is used in dangerous situations. It is used when you're at a place where your life is potentially in danger, and so you have to, you know, run away. So one of the things that adrenaline does is it causes a huge surge of your what are they called? Arteries dilate, your eyes dilate. A lot of things happen. You have a greater amount of pressure. You're at a very high tense state, ready to run, ready to fight. Now that state is for survival. That state is called the stress and survival state. It's very important when your life is in danger. But here's what's sad. A lot of people are in that state, not because there's danger, but because they're stressed. Why are they stressed? Because they are doing something that they don't like. They are there because of what I've just mentioned. And now they're in a constant state of tension. Now, did you realize that if you're in a constant state of tension, it leads to hypertension? I know. It leads to BP. It leads to heart attacks and cardiac arrest and health diseases and all kinds of issues. Because what is disease but the word dis-ease? See that? When you're in a state of dis-ease, it leads to disease. I can tell you for a fact that individuals who do what they love are less likely to suffer hypertension and stress than people who do what they loathe. If every day you go into a situation that causes you to be stressed and to be tense and to be upset, you will find that you reach a point where you are now constantly in a state of dis-ease. And so because you're in that state, it leads to disease. So what I'm doing here, what I'm talking about is literally life-saving for some of you. Some of you in this who are hearing me right now, you need to have the guts to do what I'm about to proceed to tell you. You just have to have the guts to take that hard choice and say, I have to break free of this. And I know it's not easy, because it means going to face these people who you revere and love so much and look up to. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to die early, stay there. And I mean that. If you want to die early, stay there. But if you want to have a life-saving situation, make sure that you gather the courage to do what I'm about to say. So here is a simple strategy for correcting the sunk cost fallacy. It boils down to these two steps. They're simple, but they're profound. And not only are they profound, they are life-changingly profound. So meaning they are so profound that they are the difference between living and dying. They are the difference between thriving and literally going nowhere. So, number one, consider your choices. So look at every choice and its consequences and be 100% true to the most important person in life, that being you. Not your mentor, not your parent, not your pastor, not you are the most important person, because if you are gonna die today, the world will continue without you. You know, that's the part that always blows me away. Do you know even the most irreplaceable person, when they die, people move on? So if people can move on, that should tell you right away that one of the most important things you must do as an individual is find a way to deal with it. So consider your choices. Consider you are the most important person. God speaks through you and will always place an inner witness within you called your conscience. And that will always speak the truth to your heart. You cannot lie forever to yourself. Sooner or later, the truth does come out. That's why some people end up with heart attacks and all sorts of things, because the body is just saying, no, 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 no. Your mind is saying, no, 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 no. But you're so afraid of this person, so you keep going, yes, yes, yes. And that's how you suffer. Okay? It is therefore imperative that you really weigh your choices and make hard but critical decisions. And that's the part a lot of people don't like. A lot of people go, choice. How am I going to do this? Oh, man, I can't go and face them. Oh, my God, where am I even going to go? But I'm here to tell you, my friend, do you want to die early, or do you want to live long and prosper? It's up to you. You got to make that decision. Are you going to be willing to do what it takes? Or are you going to sit around cowering and end up dying earlier than you're supposed to? Because this thing is so difficult for you to do. So the second one is to focus on the future. So instead of looking at the past, yes, you already made the mistake. Yes, you're already in the mess. Yes, it's not great. Yes, 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 yes. But then here's my point. The future. Ask yourself this very hard but necessary question. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now if you choose to remain in that path? Do you like the possibility of what it could lead to? Can you see yourself continuing to deal with whatever crap it is 5 years from now? Like, do you want to be in the same boat 5 years from now? Now, here's another one. Do you like the possibility of what it could lead to? Is it realistically achievable as a situation? What if, and this is the one I like, what if you chose? Okay, what if you chose the path you prefer? Not the one they imposed on you, but the one you prefer. Do you find yourself fantasizing about a reality far from what you are in right now as a means of escape? There's a lot of people who've resorted to fantasizing to escape from reality. So what am I saying? It is time you look to the future possibility of what you prefer instead. What if what you desire does become a reality? And that's the part. You know, people say, what if it doesn't work? I always say, no, twist that around. What if it works? What if it works? Isn't that Listen to this. What if what you desire becomes a reality? Isn't that worth the painful process of cutting your losses? The future must be the focus, not the present. The Bible says that if your eye or limb causes you to sin, cut it off. For it is better to enter the kingdom of God maimed than for your whole body to go to hell. In this case, for your whole body to continue existing in hell. Because obviously, when you're living a life that you don't like, when you're going through emotions that you dislike, when you're going through this type of pain, that is not a heaven, it's a hell. So you have to decide as an individual, am I going to continue this crap or am I going to make a change? So cut off the thing. So in this case, the Bible speaks about gouging the eye and chopping the limb. You see, Jesus uses these hyperbole as a very graphic example of how the process is. It's not an easy process, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna cost you. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be a setback. But I'm here to tell you this. Which is better? To continue in the hell you're in, or to lose an arm, or lose a leg, or lose an eye, but at least come out. And I'll be very frank with you. I would rather come out. I would rather break free. So hard as it may seem, the solution is that simple. The solution is this. Make a choice to break free. Now, a lot of people are so afraid to break free because they are obviously programmed by their background. So I'm here to encourage you today and say you can break free. So in closing, some of you here are listening to this and you're like, wow, this is so powerful. Well, look at the scroll that's running. It's called the Unleashing Your Destiny program. You can choose to reach out. I have created 7 life-altering questions which can get you started on the journey to really doing something about your life. Because a lot of people say to me, okay, Rev, you know, what you've said is powerful. And I noticed we have a lot of Zimbabweans today, this morning. Fat shout to Zim. You know, you Zimbos are people I love so much. May God continue blessing you and your nation. Now, one thing a lot of people always say, Rev, these things you said are powerful, but how do I start? So I've designed a little questionnaire, which even if you never go on to take the course, if you just, you know, do the questionnaire, that's good enough. But if you do the course, it's more powerful. I'm sharing the link, unleashingyourdestiny.com. There are 7 life-changing questions I post there. And it is up to you to make that decision. Will I have the ability, have the power, have the capacity to do what it takes? That's the link right there. So visit that link and answer the 7 questions. And when you're done answering the 7 questions, then you will have an opportunity. There is a little mini course I've put there for you, which you can then run with. It's up to you. But then if you don't, at least just answer the questions and take a lot of time to think through. These questions are life-changing, and they will help you decide, am I really a victim of the sunk cost fallacy? So remember, the sunk cost fallacy, once more in closing, is that situation that is an occurrence in the past, and it distorts your decision-making ability. You can't make a logical, sensible decision because it's distorted by the experience of the past. It's unfortunate that a lot of people are there. My job today was to help you see the danger and hopefully avoid that. And so that's it for today. I want to thank you all for being part of our call. Sunshine is on the way to Turkey. Dr. Nelly will be here tomorrow with a powerful, powerful program, which of course you know has been such a blessing to all of us. Prosperity for your soul. Remember, we run these every day, Monday to Friday. So those of you who may have missed what I was speaking about, go back. The recording is available. You can catch it. And once more, thank you for being with us. Have a great day and catch you tomorrow.